Well, hello, folks, and welcome to this live telephone town hall meeting. This is a live virtual forum with your Mayor, Karen Bass. We'll also be joined tonight by Deputy Mayor Rachel Freeman, Deputy Mayor Randall Winston, Deputy Mayor Brian Williams, Deputy Mayor Karen Lane, and Deputy Mayor Nancy Sutley. They're all here to provide you information and answer your questions tonight. If you have a question in mind for Q&A, press 0 to get that in now. You'll have the opportunity to ask your question live, but we prefer to read your questions so we can take as many questions as possible. So as we get going, we'll likely read most of these questions just to get to as many of them as we can in the time that we have with you tonight. Again, we'll be joined in a moment here by Mayor Karen Bass, who's marking 1 year in office. She's here to provide updates to begin our forum tonight. As you listen, think about questions you might like to submit for the Q&A that will follow. When you do have a question to submit for Q&A, press 0, get it to an operator. Your operator will take some notes. We'll be reading those. And again, Mayor Bass is joined tonight by Deputy Mayors Rachel Freeman, Randall Winston, Brian Williams, Karen Lane, and Nancy Sutley, here to provide updates and answer your questions. Tune in as Mayor Bass updates you, gets you up to speed on important issues, and remember, you can press 0 to submit a question for Q&A tonight. You can also press 7 if you'd like to get email updates. Let's go ahead and get started. And if you're listening to this forum in English and prefer to listen in Spanish, press 8 to transfer over to our Spanish simulcast. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce your Mayor, Karen Bass. Take it away, please, Mayor.
Hello, Los Angeles. This is such an exciting day for me, and I hope it is for you. 1 year ago today, I became your mayor officially. I went to the emergency department, and we declared a state of emergency to address the 46,000 people who are living and dying, unfortunately, on our streets. I said I wanted to lock arms and deliver for Los Angeles, move Angelenos forward. I will tell you that this year has been exhilarating. I have been encouraged and humbled and honored and enlightened. I have learned so much. I feel like we got a lot done, but we have so much more to do. And you know what I think this year was about for me and for our team was really laying a foundation to get people off the street and housed for good, a foundation to make our city safer in a comprehensive manner, hiring more police officers, but opening up an office for community safety that looks at ways to prevent crime in the first place, improving our business environment. So excited that the state's third largest bank relocated from Orange County to Los Angeles and brought with them $1 million check where we can help small businesses open up in Los Angeles and expand and develop it. So this was what many of the accomplishments, so much more to talk about, and I look forward to talking directly with you. These telephone town halls is something that I used to do all the time when I was in Congress. It was a way that I could keep people up to the minute with what was going on in the city, and I hope to continue that this year as well. One of the most important things that I accomplished this year was assembling an amazing team of deputy mayors and deputy chiefs of staff, individuals who are experts in their subject areas. And so we can talk about community safety, public safety. We can talk about the environment, housing, homelessness, the infrastructure, the potholes, all of that, because the experts are on the line ready to talk to you. So I am happy to get going and take your questions, and let's start a conversation with Los Angeles.
Thank you again. And folks, if you do have a question that you'd like to submit for Q&A, all you have to do is press 0 on your phone. We'll gladly take as many questions as we can in the time that we have. We're broadcasting tonight in Spanish and in English, so if you're in our Spanish simulcast broadcast and you want to submit a question, feel free to press 0, get that question to an operator. We'll take your question in Spanish. We'll ask it here in English on our live forum, and then we'll go ahead and get an answer from the mayor and her deputies. Let's go ahead and get into questions now. Again, 0 to submit a question of your own. It looks like we've got our first question here coming to us from Dr. Perry. Let me bring Dr. Perry live. Hi there, Doctor. What's your question for Mayor Bass?
I love the mayor. I've been with her ever since she started in 1990.
Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Hey, I got a good meeting on the 19th with Deputy Mayor Karen Lane. I'm ready to get busy to help you do whatever it is that we need to do. We got over 300 murders for the year, and I don't like it. So we got to get that out the way. So I'm loving you. You're doing an excellent job. I've always supported you, always will support you, and keep up the good work, Mayor Karen.
Well, Doc, I appreciate hearing from you. I think I saw you a few months ago, and I believe we were in Imperial Courts, and I'm going to go back and make sure that we are able to deliver for the residents that live in Imperial Courts. And when I went to Imperial Courts in Nickerson Gardens, one of the things that was really troubling to me, because it was in the summer, was that it was so hot there. But, Doc, you know what I learned? The Department of Water and Power has a program in low-income housing where you can get air conditioning for free. So I want you to follow up with our deputy mayor for our deputy mayor for the environment, Nancy Sutley, and have her tell you how DWP can get air conditioning out there in the development. I want to tell you that we have housed more than 21,000 people with our Inside Safe program. It's been almost 2,000 folks that we have gotten out of tents and into motels where they get 3 meals a day and social services. In terms of the people that are off the streets, that's thousands more than in the past years. But now, while we're getting people off the street, we also want to make sure that we are fast-tracking building. So we have more than 9,000 units of affordable housing that have been expedited, fast-tracked, and I believe they're going to come online and be available for occupancy sometime next year, and that will be much faster than has happened before. The other thing that we're trying to do is speed up the time that it takes to get housing approved and built. So from 45, well, actually, it's 45 days now. It used to be 6 months to go through part of the approval process. And so I believe that we can continue forward and get our residents housed. We're also trying to prevent people from falling into homelessness. And in part of preventing people from falling into homelessness, we know that a couple of months ago there were 2,500 people 30,000 people who were facing eviction. And we want to make sure that those people that are facing eviction, number one, don't get evicted, but number two, are maintain their housing. And so we're providing them support through our program that's called the Mayor's Fund. So let's go to the next question. I see Daniel from Koreatown.
We've got him exactly, Mayor. Daniel, welcome to the call.
Hello.
Hey there, Daniel. Go ahead with your question for the mayor.
Yeah, I thought I had recorded it earlier, but yes. My question was, I was kind of concerned about the youth of California, in particular Los Angeles. What programs is available for maybe, say, young people maybe coming out of high school, going into maybe, say, college or in seeking entrepreneurship in the city of Los Angeles? What kind of programs are available for them to keep them off the street, maybe so that they won't fall into situations like homelessness, not being able to have jobs, but job creation for the upcoming generation? So what, Mayor, are you providing any programs or input for those type of programs for the youth, the upcoming generations?
Yes. Well, let me just tell you that is such a critical question. And I want you to know that we have a youth development department. So one of the things that would be good for you to do would be to Google LA City Youth Development Department, and you will see a lot of opportunities for young people to participate. But also in the area of, and our Deputy Mayor Randall Winston, I'll ask you to talk about this, because I had the opportunity to meet with a group of young people who were focusing on improving our environment. Deputy Mayor Randall Winston, are you on? Can you talk about the environmental job opportunities that the young people are participating in?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening. Thank you for the question. So there are a number of opportunities, specifically through a partnership that we have with the state's California Volunteers agency. They have funded opportunities for youth across the state to participate in programs at our Bureau of Sanitation, our Bureau of Street Services, and that is getting them in on the ground floor, straight out of high school or college, to participate in opportunities for some of our key programs, including incentivizing recycling and folks putting their organic waste in the green bin, which is a part of our goals, helping to make our city more resilient in the face of a changing climate. These are opportunities that give folks exposure to not just working for the city, but building a career with the city. So we're looking to expand opportunities like that and partnering, again, with the state and other entities.
Wonderful. And Pete from Marina Del Rey has a question.
Thank you. First of all, I want to compliment you on what you are doing, Mayor Bass, number one.
Thank you.
Number two, I know San Diego moved their homeless to another location so that it will be out of the city. My question is, why can't the city move the homeless from Skid Row into an area, there's a lot of land in LA, where you can have showers and you could have bathrooms so that they can be rehabilitated. And some of them, of course, have a mental problem, so they need to be put in a hospital. So that's my first question. I have a couple other things. I have a TV broadcast on OCN Network. It goes to 41 million households overseas and whatnot. And one of these days, when you have time, I'd love to interview you on that show. It's a Christian network, and that's an important factor when you're available to do that. And last but not least, if ever I can be of help to talk to young people and motivate them, certainly can do that. I'm also a film producer, and I have a new film out called Make America Laugh Again, American Comedy, excuse me. And it's on what do you call it? Prime Video. That's one of the.
Make America Laugh Again. That's a great title. I will definitely look for it on Prime Video. And thank you so much for your offer of having me on. My communication staff will definitely follow up with you. And in terms of moving people who are unhoused, you know, we one of the things that I think Angelenos may not be aware of is that when you see encampments, when you see a lot of tents all clustered together, those become real support systems and communities. We have removed and housed people from encampments like the one on the 405 and Venice Boulevard. There were close to 100 people in that community. And so you have the challenge of people not wanting to be displaced far away from where they are. And we want to make sure that when we do have to move people to other sides of town, and even though I have not wanted to do that, we have had to do that because in some parts of town, we just don't have the motels that we do in other parts of town, especially in the parts of town that are more affluent, which is one thing that I really like about the council members, Councilmember Park and Yaroslavsky. They have been very bold and fearless and have been willing to push for housing in their communities because they know that the housing can't all be built in lower income communities. Everybody in LA needs to have a stake in the game. But I will tell you that we have been able to approve a lot of housing going up all around the city. And what I hope happens next year is that we will be able to fast track that housing. And so I hope next year there will be ribbon cuttings that happen very, very frequently because so many units will be online. Let me just say that Kurt Stilmar is president of the Neighborhood Council, and he wants to know how our council and other council members, how they can support our work. Hopefully I captured that, Kurt. You can come on and add to that if you would like.
Yeah, Kurt,
you have it right on, Mayor. Thank you so much. I want to thank you for your support and the services you bring to Sylmar, with the northern part of LA. But we want to know how we can support you and the rest of the city of Los Angeles in all of the mayor's efforts.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. And let me just tell you that one of the things that you could do very concretely would be to go around your neighborhood and identify an area where housing could be built. One of the things about a lot of neighborhoods where they're worried about putting up apartment buildings and residential areas, they've been willing to say, well, how about putting an apartment building up on the commercial corridor, maybe in a place where you have a strip mall or a shopping mall that is not what it used to be the days before. And so maybe it could be built there. Identifying places that would be supported by the community to have housing built would be one of the best things in the world that you could do to be helpful. The other thing is that if you know landlords, maybe you could ask them if they would be willing to accept a voucher. We have a lot of people who are unhoused that literally have vouchers in their hand, but they can't find a landlord that will accept them. And if they are willing to take somebody, the city will be there in support of that person. We won't just abandon them. We will work with the landlord. So those are a couple of things that you could do, and I so appreciate your willingness. And then definitely contact your council office because the council members work really, really, really hard. And oftentimes people have expectations of the council members that are not really realistic. And so them just getting some support would be very helpful. If Deputy Mayor Rivera is on, who is our Deputy Mayor for Community Engagement, he might want to add to how citizens can get involved. Is Deputy Mayor Rivera on? Well, I'll tell you, we'll go to another question, and maybe I'll just ask the question so we could go quickly. With California, Erica from downtown is saying, with California being at the end of Gavin Newsom's tenure, what is your idea for a plan for 2024 and 2025, and how are we addressing mental health, and what is the percentage of the budget? Well, technically, the city does not provide funding for mental health. It's the county. But I will tell you that Governor Newsom, he's going to be around for a few more years, so he's not terming out. He doesn't leave until the end of 2026. And I will tell you that I've been working with the governor, and we are going to put 2 ballot measures forward next year that everyone can vote for because everybody knows that mental health is a contributing factor to people falling into homelessness, or frankly, anybody who's on the street for a while is in danger of having their mental health compromised. I certainly don't know what shape I would be in if I had to spend, a week or a month on the street, for that matter, even a day. And so the ballot measures will allow more money to be spent by the county. That's not asking taxpayers or voters to pay anymore. The county already has the money, but it's too restricted. So one ballot measure will be to loosen the restrictions. The other ballot measure will be to a bond measure to build the housing for people who are struggling with mental health issues. Housing, frankly, that should have been built 50 years ago. Is our deputy mayor available now, Jarrett Rivera?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you fine.
Wonderful. Sorry about that. So I would say a couple things. First of all, thank you so much for your participation in the neighborhood council system. I know that is, a lot of volunteer work. You may be aware that we're in the midst of selecting a permanent GM for the department. So we look forward to working with all of the neighborhood councils in that process. And I would also say I think you're probably connected with an area rep who covers that area, but please stay connected with them. We want to make sure that the information that we have gets back to you so that we can spread it throughout the community. But again, thank you so much for your commitment to the city through that system.
Tina is saying, what is being done about the City of LA hiring process? She has passed several tests and she remains on the wait list. We could prevent more homelessness if we had a better process. Here, Tina, I couldn't agree with you more. This has been one of the issues that I have been dealing with since I was sworn in 1 year ago, especially when I found out that the city had thousands of vacancies. Well, one, the good news is that we have hired 2,500 people. And you know what, Tina? I want you to have a number that you can call tomorrow to find out where you are in the process. And one of the amazing members of the mayor's staff will give me that phone number. I'd like to ask Deputy Mayor Winston to speak again about the hiring process. Now, not that hiring is done in his area, but he has been leading the way in terms of hiring fairs. So, Deputy Mayor, can you suggest where Tina should go, who she should call in order to find what is going on?
Yes, and thank you for that, Mayor. And Tina, thank you for the question. I'd echo, of course, what the Mayor has said. We have been working diligently to draw down those times to get folks hired and onboarded to departments and bureaus throughout the city. Number one, I'd suggest that you just reach out to me directly. My email address and number, we can follow up to make sure you get that information. Then I can determine the bureau or department that you're in the process for applying for right now. Some things that we have been doing, though, beyond that, and I do look forward to talking with you directly, Tina. As the mayor has mentioned, every other month we have been holding career fairs throughout the city, council districts throughout the city. We held one last month. We'll hold one again in January. And in tandem with those career fairs, where, by the way, we offer interviews on the spot, actually make offers to folks on the spot for positions that are available throughout various city departments and bureaus, and we aid folks in the application process. But in tandem with all of that, we are working closely with our personnel department to figure out where in the process there are bottlenecks or wait time hoops to jump through that we know we can do better to reduce the time it takes to get through those steps. So it is a top priority, as the mayor has mentioned, and we look forward to continuing to reduce those barriers and the time it takes to get folks hired. And Tina, again, please do reach out to me directly so we can kind of get to the bottom of the time that you've been waiting. Thank you.
Well, let me just say, I think we're going to hear from Steve from Mar Vista.
We've got him up here next. Steve, you're live.
Hi, Mayor Bass. Hi, everyone. First of all, Mayor Bass, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's your 1 year anniversary today. And, you know, I'm a lifelong native Angelino. I've lived here all my life. And there's a lot of thank yous coming to you this evening. And I just wanted to add mine. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. I see so much activity, and you've been so proactive. And you know, these are things that I've followed my whole voting life, at least, which is several decades. So thank you. And my question tonight is, when we see a homeless encampment, a new one coming up, perhaps under a freeway underpass, etc., and you see one tent, maybe two one day, and as you're driving the next day, then there's three or four, and certainly within a week, all of a sudden, as you call it, there's this community. There's that all of a sudden there's many, many, many. What can we do? I don't mean calling and complaining. I mean, what can we as citizens do to help you, to help your deputies, certainly our city council folks, in alerting them and saying there's something coming up here and it's going to grow, because they do. And then there's yet another huge encampment and more folks to house or move, etc. Who do we call? What can we do to be as proactive as you've been in cutting that time for housing or approval of housing from 6 months to 45 days? How do we involve ourselves as citizens to help you do that?
Well, you know what? I'm so appreciative for everybody that's on the line right now, especially those who are looking for a way to get involved. And I'm going to ask our Deputy Mayor for Community Engagement again to talk to you. But it really is important to call us when you see tents pop up. So I learned this week that in some of the areas where we had housed everybody in an encampment, that the tents popped back up and we didn't know it. So we want people to call us and say, hey, we see tents, because you should call and let us know the minute you see one tent. Because if you don't call right away, 3 days later there'll be 5 tents. And then it grows and it grows and it grows from there. And so that's why we want to be very aggressive in the beginning and make sure that we get people housed right away. So, Deputy Mayor Rivera, will you please tell people where to call if they see a tent?
Yeah, I think the people can call into. Thank you for that, ma'am. People can call into the council office in 311, but we also want to be connected directly with folks so that we can work with you to develop a community strategy. So everybody who is on the call tonight, we're going to send you a text message either tomorrow or the next day, letting you know how we can stay connected with you. I know that many of you got a text message from us inviting you to be part of this call, and we really appreciate you staying connected with us. You can text back to us there. There are live folks. We will connect you to the appropriate person in your neighborhood, because we want to really help to pull together our partners in the council office, the city departments, social service providers, really in a community fashion to make sure that we are not letting things repopulate. So please, if you're on the call tonight, look for a text in the next day or so to make sure that we're staying connected.
Absolutely. I believe we're going to go to a poll question now.
Let's do it. Yeah, great timing with your comments, Deputy Mayor Rivera. We're going to run a poll right now and ask our audience if you would like to receive text messages from the mayor's office. Press 1 for yes. So again, if you'd like the mayor's office to communicate with you via text in the future, press 1 to let us know right now, and we will start doing that. Go ahead and press 1 again. And I'll leave that open until we finish taking our next question here, Mayor. So again, folks, as you're listening for this next few minutes, if you want to get text updates from the mayor's office, press 1. And Mayor, we've got Sabrina up next from Valley Village.
Hi, Mayor Bass. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Mayor Bass. I wanted to thank you for actually taking a lot of action towards helping resolve the homeless issue in Los Angeles. I am speaking as an individual today, but I am also the Vice President of the Los Angeles Equine Advisory Committee. And we represent all of the districts and all of the constituents with regards to horse and equine issues. And there are a lot of issues that have come to the fore, and we would really like to be able to speak with your office about them. I personally wrote a petition to the Department of Rec and Parks commissioners regarding the Equestrian Center in Los Angeles, requesting a change in management. And after investigating it 2 years later, they unanimously approved that change. And that is going through right now, and they're going to be in the process of revitalizing it. And I say this because equine engagement can be so incredibly helpful in developing empathy and compassion and really engaging people and bringing joy. So it's not a minor thing, and I want it also, we all want it to be inclusive of everyone, regardless of their backgrounds or economic status. We do have a big issue related to safety and the homeless that we're kind of at a loss as to how to solve, and I'm hoping to be able to communicate further with your office on it, having to do with homeless encampments that spring up along the river bottoms, because it's interjurisdictional and interdepartmental, and there is a lot of, it's not my jurisdiction, but what you have are these tents and tarps next to the equestrian trails, and then you have people riding their horses next to them or near them, and the tarps can flap and the horses can get scared, and actually it's a danger to everybody, the people living in the encampments as well as the equestrians.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? One of the things that I love about being mayor and about telephone town halls that I've done for years and years is that you're always learning something. So this is new to me. Homeless encampments near where we have people riding horses. And so that's something that we will definitely take a look at. I think I would call on Deputy Mayor Winston again if he is familiar with this, or what his thoughts might be in the areas where we might have homeless encampments in rural areas or in areas where we have equestrians.
Yes, thank you for that, Mayor, and thank you, Sabrina, for that question and expressing the concern. I am familiar with this issue, but would certainly want to speak with you about it further to get a better understanding of, where you and, obviously those that you speak with, the members of the equine community, are seeing those challenges specifically throughout the city and the work that you've done with our Department of Recreation and Parks. I work closely with our Deputy Mayor of Neighborhood Services, who may be able to join here pretty soon. It's Jacqueline Hamilton. And we can be sure to follow up with you just to further address both, again, where those locations are and how we can better provide for safety, security, and access amongst our equestrian community. So thank you for that. And Sabrina, I will be following up. Our team will be following up to make sure that you have my contact information, and that is Deputy Mayor Jacqueline Hamilton. Thank you.
We're seeing, this is Zach Seidel, Deputy Mayor of Communications. We're seeing some questions here for businesses, so I wanted to pass it off to you, Mayor Bass, as well as I know Deputy Mayor Freeman is on, not only about what has been accomplished this year in regards to businesses, but also, any assistance of businesses that's out there for businesses.
Well, absolutely. Let me just say very quickly that my commitment when I was running was that LA would be open for business, and we would make sure that people knew that. And so one of the first steps we took in my administration was to hire Deputy Mayor Rachel Freeman. Why don't you talk about some of the work that you have been doing, Deputy Mayor?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. I joined the administration back in March, and my team has really hit the ground running. One of the first directives that the mayor gave me was to build up and stand up a small business team within the mayor's office. And I think, as we understand, there are over 460,000 businesses within the city of Los Angeles, which are predominantly made up of small businesses. And so really developing a strong policy platform to be small business supportive was incredibly important to the mayor. And I'll just touch on a couple of the things that we have launched thus far in this first year. The first I'd like to touch on is Executive Directive 4, which is the first business-focused ED of the administration, again, focused on the small business community with the intention of directing departments to assess business taxes fees, timelines, and processes with the aim of supporting business development, creation, and growth within the city of Los Angeles. Back in September, we issued a 90-day progress report to touch on some of the actions already taken. And as many of some of those challenges and opportunity areas have been surfaced through the findings of ED4 as we worked closely with departments, we continue to and will continue to in the new year kind of tier off that and find additional areas of focus. And so a couple of those things that we've been able to touch on thus far is we have been able to work with a number of departments on strategies that are going to help expedite contract payments. And so we're working with each city department to establish and achieve a 45-day payment goal. Through the good work of the Bureau of Contract Administration, they have been able to work through an over 200 certification backlog for local business enterprises, and we're working closely with that team to be able to modernize their platforms so that small businesses have an easier time and lower sort of the barrier to entry with getting certified with businesses. ED4 also stood up a small business cabinet within the mayor's office. I'm happy to share that the mayor has convened that business cabinet earlier this year in October, and we'll be meeting on a quarterly basis with our next meeting coming up in January. In support of our successful restaurant program with outdoor dining, we have been working on a permanent program for the alfresco dining program. The city enacted a temporary local emergency order back in May of 2020. And that has now is coming to a sunset, and the mayor's office has been working diligently to launch a permanent platform to allow for the current alfresco participants and new restaurateurs that want to partake to be able to continue on in their current space with their current format. And so we are looking with our partners at City Council to be able to conclude that process a little bit later this week. One additional thing that I'll touch on in terms of business support is around our Contract Ready LA program. And so in response to business leaders' requests, the mayor's office launched a Contract Ready LA program with the intention of supporting small businesses to build capacity and attain the knowledge that they need to work with the city on procurement contracts. And that program and initiative has focused on ARPA funding and has allocated $1 million towards supporting technical assistance, and we have been working diligently with the business community to deploy that capital and put it to work.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Freeman. Zach, Deputy Mayor?
Sure. Yeah. So we've got some questions here about safety, and I was thinking, Deputy Mayor Williams, if you could talk about progress in terms of the budget and also recent results in terms of addressing the hiring and recruitment process. And then it's something that the mayor has been doing is leading a comprehensive approach to safety, so pairing not only investments in LAPD, but also investments on community-based strategies that have proven to reduce crime and violence. And then I think, Mayor, you want to talk a little bit about an opportunity for folks to be engaged in that setting come the new year. So Deputy Mayor Williams, I'll kick it over to you. And then Deputy Mayor Lane, if you could talk about your piece, and then we'll go into a poll question.
Thank you, Zach. And this is Deputy Mayor Brian Williams, Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. You know, the mayor has repeated over and over again that making sure the Los Angelinos are safe is one of her top priorities, and certainly made it one of my priorities as well. Over the summer, many of you know the mayor and city council worked to give LAPD a nice contract. And that contract, in turn, helped us to increase the number of recruits that are going into the system. In fact, this past August, we had the highest number of recruits that we've had going into LAPD over the past 5 years or so. So that was a big accomplishment for the mayor. Also, we are making sure that our community is safe in terms of shopping. The mayor has developed a organized crime task force that will assist with these smash and grab robberies that have been occurring. She'll be able to talk about that, I think, a little bit more. But the number of smash and grab robberies has reduced since that task force has been in place. And in fact, the mayor participated in a blitz operation just last week where she observed and worked with LAPD in reducing the amount of crime in a local store downtown Los Angeles. One of the most important things we've been able to do, by the way, is to make sure that there are a set of metrics that we are guiding the LAPD by, making sure that they're reducing the uses of force, making sure that they're increasing the amount of times that they're using non-lethal force, that they're using mental health providers in cases where there are folks who are experiencing a mental health crisis, rather than having a police officer, he or herself, only arrive at the scene, of including a mental health professional as well to assist in that process. And we're happy to say that all of this is having an impact. Violent crime is down in our community. Homicides are down in our community. But there's still work to do, and we continue to work every day to make sure that traditional policing is working. As we work on this traditional policing, we're also working with our Office of Community Safety, and I believe Deputy Mayor Karen Lane is on the line, and she's going to talk about our Office of Community Safety.
Deputy Mayor Karen Lane. Well,
sorry about that.
I was
trying to come off mute. Thank you so much. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Williams and Mayor. One thing that the mayor has been very clear about is, once a fire truck is called, once a police officer is called, harm has already happened. And so what we have tried to do as an administration is really invest city resources and our relationships to actually prevent harm and crime in our communities. And so this year, we're happy to celebrate that those community partnerships and those investments have actually brought down serious and violent crime in our communities. We continue to invest in those who are highest risk at both being a victim of violent crime as well as perpetuating violent crime. And that has led to a citywide reduction in community violence and gang-related violence in the city. We have also continued to strengthen our CIRCLE program, which is an effort to actually do unarmed response and really get at the root cause of community harm and individual harm. In this last year, we have diverted and sent out support for unhoused populations who are experiencing mental crisis or need additional support, 10,000 calls. And by doing that, not only have we kept people out of the criminal justice system, but we've connected people to the support that they need to prevent crime and harm in the future. And finally, we're also growing, in this last year, we've worked to grow our anti-recidivism services. And so how do we stop recidivism in our community and cycles of crime? We're trying to support individuals returning home from incarceration to connect them to jobs, those as well as housing and mental health support. And so we can continue to grow those interventions and initiatives to, again, prevent crime from happening in the first place and reduce crime in the city.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Lane. Let me just answer several questions, and I can do it quickly. Ophelia for West Adams is asking, can something be done in regard to educating the police on handling people with mental illness? Have you considered the tiny house option for homeless? Yes, absolutely. We are using tiny homes in addition to motel rooms. In terms of educating the police on handling people with mental illness, yes, one of my directives to the chief was that all police officers be trained in how to manage people who are mentally ill. But more importantly than that, Deputy Mayor Lane, who was just speaking, is also expanding the CIRCLE program. And this is a program specifically designed to assess people, especially unhoused people who are suffering from mental illness. So if constituents see an unhoused person, instead of calling the police, you can call the CIRCLE program. And to learn more about that, you can certainly call 311. Cindy is saying that she is appreciative of what we're doing with the homeless, but she wants to know, why can't police walk a beat? And actually what I do think takes place, and I'll ask the police chief specifically about this, is that in the Skid Row adjacent area where you described where you are, you see a lot of officers not walking the beat but on bikes. But I have no doubt that more are needed, and we need to expand the involvement of, again, not just police officers, but also community workers that can help. On the Metro trains, and by the way, one of the things that I did in my first year was took over the chairmanship of Metro. And one of the tactics and strategies that we're using there is we use ambassadors. They're community members who have special training, and their training is in how to essentially be ambassadors and help riders, but also how to deal with the unhoused population that essentially occupies a lot of space, rides the train to escape being on the street. And we want to have more ambassadors. They're also trained, and this is a sad thing, but they're trained in the use of Narcan, and they have been able to save a number of lives. Opal from Mid-City is asking if we have a peer counselor in place would be helpful and better assist the homeless. Are there any surveys to find out what they need? Yes, there are, and yes, we do have that. As a matter of fact, our street outreach team in the mayor's office that goes out and talks to people in tents, many of our staff were formerly unhoused, or they might have been formerly incarcerated. So we work with people. I mean, who best to talk to somebody who's unhoused than somebody who is experiencing that themselves? Rachel is asking, she wants to know if the elderly seniors' risk of homelessness, are there any special programs? Well, I appreciate you raising that, Rachel, because the fastest growing sector of the unhoused population are seniors in their 60s and 70s who might have worked their life in retail. They didn't have a pension. They didn't have a 401k, and Social Security in Los Angeles will absolutely not pay for your housing. And so we are working with seniors, and there have been specific housing developments for seniors. And so, again, being in contact with our office if you know anybody that's facing that. Now, I know we have a poll question that we want to ask people, and this is very, very important, and I'll let our deputy mayor, and after that, we will wrap up our call.
So, yeah, the next poll question that we're going to take is in line with what Deputy Mayor Williams and Deputy Mayor Lane were saying. We're hoping to hear from Angelenos about what safety means to them. And so the question that we're about to ask is, in the new year, would you be open to participating in a survey about safety and what safety means to you? You can click 1 for yes, 2 for no. Again, the question is, would you like to participate in a survey about safety next year? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. And while folks are coming in on that, Mayor, I'll pass it back to you for some concluding.
Well, let me just say thank you to the thousands of Angelenos that have participated on this telephone town hall today. This is something that I used to do regularly when I was in Congress. We had these telephone town halls a lot, and I want to do this as your mayor, as a way for people to talk to me directly, to hear your concerns, whether you put it in the chat or whether you come in line to talk to me. I appreciate you so much for taking the time. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe holiday season with friends and family. I look so forward to serving you in my second year as your mayor. We made tremendous progress. In our first year, we acted with a profound sense of urgency because we continue to have an emergency on our streets. I'm proud that we were able to get 21,000 Angelenos housed. I will tell you that I'm worried about more Angelenos falling into homelessness, and we have established an independent nonprofit organization called the Mayor's Fund, Mayor's Fund Los Angeles. Please Google that. If you want to get involved in our citywide effort to prevent people from falling into homelessness, we know the zip codes where people are facing eviction. We're doing outreach to the individuals who are facing eviction, and we would like for you to let us know if you know of anybody that is at risk. Voters passed a proposition in the last election called ULA, and that has given the city several $1 million to assist people who are in danger of falling into homelessness, to assist landlords, because we don't want landlords to fault on their mortgages, and then we'll have two people on the street. There's so much more that we're going to get done next year. We build a strong foundation, and I know next year you are going to see housing being built very quickly all around the city, and I know that we will make serious headway in resolving our collective emergency, and that is housing, Angelenos. We are going to continue to work for a more affordable city, a city that is safer, that people are happier, and we want people to be able to afford to live in Los Angeles. Be well. Look forward to seeing you in 2024. Thank you so much.